Alrighty, tell you what, I'm going to do a couple quick things on the piano just so we can do a recap of what we were just talking about. And you know what? This stuff isn't for you to memorize or for you to actually have just like all the time. This is just little bits and pieces which should help wrap your brain around what the piano is and how to circumvent any bad fingering practices and kind of see where we're moving from there. So what we do is we find out how to find middle C. You're pretty good at doing that. So what we do now is we learn how to play our 1 and our 5 finger. So if you could know where these 3 black keys are and these 2 black keys, when we go down from the first black key on the third grouping, we have an F. We know that because we have C, D, E, F. If we go from this note, which is a C sharp, and go down half step, we get a C. We don't really play like this because there's no point of, there's no real way to play something like play an item like this by using just 1 finger. You need all of your fingers. So what we do is we tend to put our fingers in a position. When we find comfortable fingerings, we use those, like the 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So no matter where we put our fingers, 1 to 5, it's always pretty much going to line up. There are only 2 exceptions, B flat to F and B to F sharp. Those are 5s, which are cattywampus. 1 finger's on black, 1 finger's on white, 1 finger's on white, 1 finger's on black. Other than that, every other chord, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, G, G sharp, A sharp, and B are the only 2. So going through this, they're all going to be parallel. The same way you were doing it today by going, playing in fourths. So what we do is we hear harmonies. Here's a major second in the key of C. Here's a major second in the key of D. Here's a major second in the key of E, major second in the key of F, major third in the key of C, major third in the key of D, major third in the key of E, major third in the key of F. And then what you've stumbled upon is if you flatten the third, you get a minor. So this is a minor key of C, minor key of D, minor key of E, minor key of F. And I know this seems relatively awkward, like it doesn't quite make sense, but eventually, knowing how to hold your hands becomes what you play. Into it. What we do is we find chord structure. So C to D, D to E, go under for your 4th note for the F, to G, A, B, and then C. When we work something up on one hand and then we work something down on the other, what we do is we notice both hands have a little bit different of a way to get from one point to another, but they both involve using 5 fingers and doing a crossover or a cross under. If we have our left hand, we do a crossover. Crossover. If we have our right hand, we do a cross under. And then it switches on the way back. So the left hand that did do the crossover is going to do a cross under on the way back to put our pinky right back on the root note. Same thing for this. Under, over, and then it ends. So what we do is we work on different scales. Key of C sharp, key of D major, key of D sharp, key of E major, key of F major, key of G major, key of A, so on and so forth. And what happens is we get very used to playing our 1 and our 5 with our 3, or our 1 or 5 with our minor third. So in answer to your question today, what is a suspended fourth? It is a 1, 3, and a 5 in the key of C with a fourth note. And then we take all those, we put them together with the different notes that we know. And the one thing I really wanted you to see, when we have a treble clef and we've got these 5 notes, the note that the treble clef surrounds when you make your first whoop, that's the G line. So the G line, if you could find a C, C, D, E, F, G, that note, la, is the tone you're looking for. Because on the treble clef, when you go down below the lowest, G, F, E, D, the line that's right here is called a ledger line, and that just happens to be middle C. So what we did over here on the board when we were counting out rhythms, we quite literally were counting out the rhythms that made it sound like we were playing the notes. So what I wanted to make a comparison of, and I hope that you follow me here, is that when we, sorry about the camera work too. So when we play this, the piano, we do do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. The reason why we count those numbers out and we count the timing out is because of this very simple fact. If I'm playing Yankee Doodle and I know that it's in the key of A, I'll just show you the page right here. If I know that I go to that key signature, which is right here, and I see that there are 3 sharps, I remember that the key of C had no sharps. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, which means I didn't say C sharp, D flat, E natural, F firm, blah, blah, blah. They're all natural notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. If I were to say C natural, D natural, E natural, F natural, G, it would take forever. So we just call them C. Whenever I alter a natural note, that's when I have to say C sharp or D sharp. Or if I had an F and I flattened it, I would have to call that an E or an F flat. Sometimes we don't call names of like the F flat. We just call them E because that's a natural sounding note. I'll get into that later with you though once we start doing this. So when I'm reading this, I'm looking at the first thing, which is the key signature. If I know that C has no sharps, no flats, that quite literally means I'm not playing anything or saying anything that has any flat or sharp notes. When I go up 5 notes, C, D, E, F, G, G now has 1 sharp. That sharp is F sharp. So when I play G, A, B, C, D, E, I can't play an F natural because that doesn't resolve the same way that an F sharp resolves to a G. Opposed to is still a major sounding chord because you have the major third, but that dominant 7th sounds a little out of place. What you want is the major 7th, which sounds nice. Cool? So in the key of A, we just happen to have 3 sharps, C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. So when I find C, D, E, F, G, A, and I know that that A is now my 1, I can play my 1, 5, and then put down my major third, and then know that that C sharp's one of my 3 sharps. It's that one. And then I have 2 more, the F sharp and the G sharp. So when I play A, B, C, I can't just play A, B, C. I have to play C sharp. That's an A major. So when I read the first couple notes here in the first measure, I see that it has a B, C sharp. The words underneath it even say Yankee Doodle. So So when I see those 4 notes, I see quarter, 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 which in my mind means beat, 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 beat. They're only worth 1 note. So that quarter note has to be worth quarter, 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 quarter. The second measure has the same notes as the first, A, and then it goes to a G. Notice how the note itself in the first measure has a quarter, 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 quarter. Then it has a quarter, quarter, and then a dotted quarter. Since the quarter is worth 1 beat, that dot means we add a half of the note value. Meaning, if that was a half note and it was worth 2 beats, we would have added a whole beat. Since this is only worth a single beat, we only add a half of that single beat, which would be a half beat or an eighth note. Notice how when we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 notes in a measure, these 4 notes have to add up to 4 beats. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and a half, and then a half. That makes 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ta-da! So this would be counted quarter, 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 dotted eighth, quarter, 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 half, quarter, quarter. Quarter, 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 half, half. Dotted half, eighth, quarter, 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 half. Dotted eighth, eighth, quarter, 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 half. Dotted eighth, eighth, quarter, 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 half, half. So if I wasn't going to say quarter, quarter, half, 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 and I just said the durations, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. Once I go over this 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 times, then I take the words and do it with the duration and the notes. So I know that I started off with an A, so I would have A, B, C sharp, A, G, G sharp, right? Because I have to have a G sharp and an F sharp. F sharp, right here, goes from a G sharp to an E, which is my eighth note, and then back up to an A. So it would sound like A, B, C sharp, A, G sharp, E, and then back up to the A. When we count this out, we would have Yankee Doodle went to town a-riding on a pony. He stuck a feather in his cap and called it macaroni. Yankee Doodle, keep it up. Yankee Doodle dandy. Yeah, the music and the step and with the girls behind him. So what happens through this whole process is we take the notes and we count them. Dun, 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 and then we add. We add note durations for them. So what you and I kind of got to today is if we played every note like this, it would be hard to play, number one, and then it wouldn't have the same value as a 1, 2, 3, 4. If we just had 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, there's no rhyme and reason, which is why we play with the metronome and we try and keep it within tempo and the right fingerings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, we're going to be doing is hopefully, if you enjoy this, we're going to be counting out rhythms and then working on piano structures. I think you did a wonderful job playing the piano today, and I'd like you to know that when you're trying to find your fingers around here, it's okay to pinpoint where your note is, but it's much better to find that note and then find the fifth right away than the major third or the minor third, because that sets the tone for the rest of the song. Anyway, I really enjoyed seeing you this week. Remember, you don't have to learn or remember everything that are in these videos, but these are here for you at a later time as well. I really enjoyed seeing you, and I'll see you next week. Aloha!